adventure in Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Wake up, America! It's time for the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY.com, West Palm Beach's #1 internet radio station. Here's your host, the Pipeman.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman W4CY Radio, and I'm here with our next guest who, man, they have some killer-ass music coming out, okay, number one. Number two, I have to say right off the bat that I love something that I read that Kerrang said about them and described them in 2019 as a grime sludge molotov cocktail. Like, that is the best explanation ever. So let's welcome to the show Jim from Mastiff. How are you?
Hi, I'm all right. Are you?
I'm good. Cool. I think I'm a little better than you though, because I'm in Costa Rica right now, and from what I know, my weather is a lot better than yours right now.
Yeah, probably about 364 days a year.
I know, right? So I go out there to cover download and bloodstock, and when I go, and I think it's just going to be summer. It's going to be great. And then I'm like, what the fuck? How is it this cold in the middle of summer? It's like bipolar. Like, I'll be doing interviews, and in between interviews, I'm putting the hoodie on, taking the hoodie off, because like one interview it's hot, one interview it's cold.
Although a couple of years ago at Bloodstock, it was not cold at all. Oh man,
no, it was pretty brutal.
Yeah, that was the year we played, and it was brutal. Yeah,
but you guys were brutal there, because I caught your set at Bloodstock then.
well,
And I think that was also the same year that I covered Hellfest, and it was like 104 degrees.
Yeah,
Literally, I was doing my interviews outside instead of press tent, because it was too hot in the press tent. So imagine that it was nicer outside, cooler outside at 104.
No.
I mean, oh my God. But that's what I mean. You never know.
And no shade, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the new album. You got the new album dropping on the 22nd via MNRK. And I was just listening to it before the interview. It's kind of how I get pumped up for the interview. I just listen to the music, the new music of the band, just hanging out, doing my thing. And oh my God, it's brutal. It totally went along with that explanation that Kerrang gave.
Oh, well, that's cool. Yeah, it's a hell of an album. Even if I do say so myself, it does. Yeah, Kerrang have sort of captured what we're about there with that quote, I guess. Yeah, we haven't deviated massively from previous releases, although this one does feel a little bit more hardcore, I think.
There you go. Well, and I love that you do kind of blend genres, because we're both kind of old school, and old school you couldn't do that crap, and I always thought it was stupid when I was young. I'm like, isn't a musician just supposed to experiment, not just go by stupid rules?
Oh, exactly. Yeah, totally. We do fall between a lot of cracks, or we peak between a lot of mountains, or I don't know. Anyway, we are between quite a lot of genres, I think. Not through any, we're not trying to be. We are, we're lucky enough to be 5 older blokes, like you say, who have got a lot of influences over the years. And we all try and, pump them out as quick as we can, or, as much as we can between us. So it's a little bit of a to-ing and fro-ing at, towards what style we would be on each song, I guess, on each track.
Yeah.
So we do try to cover, not try to cover all bases, but we do cover a lot of bases.
You know, and I was thinking about it while you were talking, okay? And so people from our generation got exposed to like so many different levels heading into metal, opposed to I think the younger generation today, we created what they have right now. So there was no like black metal at first. There was no death metal at first. There was not, there wasn't even like I'm an old school thrash metalhead. There was no thrash. I was at Metallica's first show ever, and they were considered power metal because there was no such word as thrash metal. And so,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I
Well, that's some claim to fame. That start with, let alone be, yeah.
right,
Yeah, I guess, yeah, the thrash metal thing. Yeah, well, all genres. I guess it all leads back to your Black Sabbaths and then your Judas
e-
Priests and stuff like
exactly.
that. So, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's all, but it is all irrelevant when metal's metal at the end of the day, innit? Whether
I
it
agree.
fits some box or it don't fit some box, who cares? We're not tied to any genre, like you said. We try to be. Yeah, we try to have the idea that we can play anything we bloody like, and if it sounds masterly enough, then it gets to be kept. I guess not normally about 90% of the time. So
Yeah, and and the point I was getting to is like you have so many influences as a musician over your years of being around this genre where I think the younger kids have different influences because their influence are more of what was created later, and like I even know people that are snobby nowadays, like I find snobby to where, oh, Maiden sucks. And like before all this stuff, Maiden and Priest were like gods.
oh
But
yeah,
then, yeah, today you would look at them and go, man, that was metal. It's kind of like I remember back in the day when Venom first came out, and they did a gig with Slayer in L.A. and Tom and Kronos got into a fight backstage because Kronos was like, we're the only black metal band. There's no other black metal band, blah, blah. And now you ask black metal bands today, and they don't even consider the original Venom as black metal. It's so interesting.
well, surely having the first album ever called black metal it gives you that. Hang on,
Right?
we've signed, sealed, and delivered this one. So
Exactly. So, what was it for you? The first thing that you really sticks out in your mind that told you, I want to be a musician, and that's it.
well, if I'm brutally honest with you, it was a bet in the pub.
I love
Uh,
it.
30, yeah, 30 years ago, there was a gang of us in the pub, in the boozer, whatever you want to call it, the bar, and a guy who was with us who, not that I can play instruments, but a guy who was with us who couldn't play instruments bet us in 4 months you can't play a gig. And we were like, right, who's sat around the table? There was a drummer, luckily, a very loose bassist, a guitarist, obviously, and then there was two singers, or two mates who wanted to be singers, which obviously I was one of them, and my pal Chris at the time. And we were like, okay, red rag to a bull to most of us. And 4 months later, we were playing our first gig. Not Mastiff. It's not Mastiff, but it was, it was the leading into a 30-year, I wouldn't call it career, but a hobby, a 30-year hobby.
I know, right? Like, isn't it cool though that your hobby can be your career? Like, that's the way it should be.
Yeah, it's just fun, Christ, how many people get to sort of do this shit and get away with doing whatever doing gigs, and other people suddenly buying into it and going, oh, okay, yeah, you're all right, I don't mind you.
It is. And there's so much competition nowadays that when you're a band like you that can still stick out with new music today, that impresses me because there's so much out there. It's not like the tape trading days. Okay. Like
Oh
there's
yeah.
millions of songs that anybody can listen to at their fingertips. Like me, like you probably, I had to actually buy an album to know what it even sounded like.
Oh God, yeah, yeah. And luckily, it's come back round, I guess, for
Yeah.
physical copies. I love buying vinyl when and as I can afford it. But yeah, it's I'm surrounded by the stuff at the moment. So yeah, but don't tell the wife too much.
Oh, I love that. And I love that you brought that up too, because people think of musicians and they have this idea in their mind. And really, a lot of them are family people, married, have kids. And like, just because you are who you are on stage doesn't mean people know what you are off stage. And,
Oh
and I
God.
think you want to get away from that, like, especially if you're touring. Okay. So when you go home, I don't think you want to be in tour mode. You want to be in, home
Oh, you
recuperating,
cannot.
chill mode.
Yeah, you can't live in rock and roll mode. Sorry, I keep doing this, but you can't live in rock and roll mode all the time. It's got to, normality is normality, and the majority of musicians or singers like myself, we don't. No, it's just a normal life, and then for however long you're touring, you get to go into tour mode. So yeah,
Totally.
I'd rather be that way. I think. It
Yeah,
keeps it keeps the reality, it keeps a reality check on yourself as well. So
no doubt. And listen, let's call it what it is. When you're getting up on stage, you're entertaining. You're a performer. You know, even in radio, like I have so many funny stories of people that have known me my whole life, and they listen to my radio show, and not the serious part, because there's like the shock jock part too. And they're like, "What the fuck happened to you?" And I'm like, "I'm just playing a role on the radio, man." It's like, even, my radio name is Pipe Man, but that's not my name in real life. But like, it's so funny. People walk up to me and they're like, "Hey, what's up, Pipe Man?" And then, like, if they meet Dean, which is my real name, like, they're kind of confused because they're expecting Pipe Man.
yeah, well, yeah, we've got a similar thing here in the UK. My real name's Jim, but I'm more known to most people as Knobhead.
See, there you go. And it is kind of funny too, isn't it? Like, even I'll go on tour and do all these festivals and do radio coverage, and one of the most fun parts about that is when I'm sitting out in the crowd with some of my band friends, and nobody knows it's them.
Yeah,
And we laugh about it because we're sitting in this like huge crowd, not hiding, and it'll be like somebody that everybody would know if he was on stage or she was on stage, and they just have no clue who
yeah, you
they're
stick a
standing next
baseball cap on and sunglasses, and yeah, you blend in.
And see, I think that's cool, because that's another thing I always talk about that people don't understand. Like, especially if I bring helpers to do the interviews backstage at these festivals, I'm like, I have a rule. I tell them, like, listen, this is their safe zone. Okay. We don't fangirl or fanboy out back here. Don't ask for autographs. Don't ask for selfies. And we're all on equal level back here. They have to deal with enough of that out there. Like,
Yeah,
let
yeah,
them have this time to, just be themselves and not have to, you know, have the switch on, so to speak.
absolutely. Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, I was lucky enough to once like be stood shoulder to shoulder with Dave Grohl. When I think it's his ex-wife was playing in Veruca Salt, and we were at a festival in England, and my pal who stood next to me just went, "Oh, look who stood next to you!" I was like, "Oh my god!" Just went,
Right?
"Hello," and he was like, "Yeah, all right," and that was it. And that's I think all anybody really wants. They don't want the punishers all the time, every bloody moment, do they? We're all humans. We're all just normal people. We've
Exactly.
just been lucky enough to write music that people are into. That's all.
Absolutely. And, it's funny you mentioned Dave Grohl, because, like, I'll go do like dime bag bash, and he's just sitting there barbecuing for everybody.
You see that? He did. I mean, like obviously I've only ever sort of stood next to him, but the guy is he just comes across as the most normal superstar.
I know, right? He is. He's like the most normal dude. So yeah, Dave's like the nicest guy in rock and roll, and everybody that knows him says that. He doesn't even like think of himself as a rock star, okay? And that's what makes him cool.
Yeah, that's the best kind of rock star. You fall foul, I think, or you certainly see people falling foul of the first album superstardom,
right?
Leaving their own bullshit, and then you're like, oh, okay, you're a bit of a dick.
You know what? There were like I spent the 80s on the Sunset Strip, and so I met a lot of those bands and hung out with them when I was a teenager, and a lot of bands, it did go to their head, and they were like total dicks. Now, fast forward to today, some of those people they got humbled and turned into nice guys. Some of them haven't had like a hit since the 80s, and they still think they're God's gift to music.
Yeah. Well, yeah. How do you know I was on about them sort of bands? Yeah, I mean, yeah, but then I suppose in every genre there's certain types. I mean, we've been to big hardcore band shows. I'm being surprised that they're charging a meet and greet thing. Like, hardcore's not about that,
right?
I know everyone's got to make a living, but come on, dude, Jesus.
It is kind of weird. It is kind of weird nowadays sometimes. Like, I also found what was weird because I'm totally into punk too.
Yeah.
And a lot of punk bands that were known for being like anarchists and all that and talking against the government all of a sudden became pro-government. And I like scratch my head. I'm like, that's like the antithesis of punk.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, that's pretty much everything that you could do wrong. You've just done wrong there. Yeah, I mean, I know people make money and it does change them. Obviously, it's going to change your living style and everything. I mean, Christ, you can't live like Gigi Allen, for the rest of your life when you've got $1 million in the bank or £1 million
Right.
in the bank. But I guess there's always a moment where you've got to be realistic about what you're doing and don't undermine your own.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And I don't mind somebody having a better life. Just don't be a dick about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So tell everybody how they can connect to you guys on socials, how they can pre-order the album that drops on the 22nd. I know you have a cool link tree that links to everything. So
yeah,
let's give them all that.
So if you search us on any of the socials, just about we're Mastiff HCHC. And like I said, there's links to everything. There's pre-order links. There's tour dates, all the rest of it. We're no different to most of the bands out there that way. We're all just trying to vie for this small little gap in the market. And if anyone's interested, there's the pre-orders there, and we post them out personally still. So
now I could tell you too, it's a little bit of a tongue twister, the name of the album. and so I'm like, I want to get a good laugh from you because I'm going to try to say it, and I know I'm going to butcher it right now.
Roll. Here we go.
So let's see. Deprecipice.
Right, just go basic. It's Deprecipice.
Oh, well, there you go. I was trying to go there too, and then I just lost it in the middle.
One too many letters, I believe.
I know, right? It's definitely.
But you're not the first, and I'm sure you won't be the last.
You guys should do like a contest for like a free ticket to one of your shows for who can say that 10 times fast without screwing it up.
That's a good contest, yeah.
In fact, you know what I'm going to do? My live show is tomorrow, and then I'm giving away tickets to Aftershock that just announced their lineup last week. I think that's going to be the contest
Do
for
it. Do it.
to
You've
win.
got my okay on that. You've got our okay on that.
Okay, I'm going to do that. That's going to be so.
I'd love that. Yeah.
Oh man,
you might not be able to give the ticket away.
I don't. I'll bet you nobody will be able to do it. That'll be great.
I might ring in and sweep the podium.
You know what I could do? I could send you a link, the same like we're doing here. I could send you the link, and you can come. We could set a time for you to come on, and
I'll do that.
and we can do the contest. It would be so funny.
I'd do that. Yeah, cool. That'd be cool. Yeah, no.
All right. After the interview, we'll talk about it. I'll give you all the deets.
Cool.
The last thing I want to say is I just absolutely love your slogan. Okay. And I'm going to say I'm a very motivational, positive person that loves your slogan. And I want to say that ahead of time because it's a miserable band from a miserable city.
Spot on.
I mean,
if anybody's ever been to Hull, it is that, but it's our miserable city, and we'll defend it to the nth degree. So it's our miserable shithole.
I'm wondering. There's another band, I can't remember who it is, that I interviewed at either Download or Bloodstock that was also from Hull and was saying the exact same stuff. And I was like, I can't remember who it is right now.
It could have been, it might have been Black Tongue.
I don't think it was that one.
Who else could it have been? I'm just trying to think who else has played Bloodstock. What recently?
Yeah, within, post-COVID. I can't remember. So I'll give you one other funny thing here. Okay. My second wife, she was British. Okay.
Okay.
And I don't know if you know this, but especially women, when they come over to the United States, they play this role like they're the Queen of England. Okay. And they, she was no different. She had this hoity-toity attitude and, nose down on Americans and acted like she was this royal. And she took advantage of the place that I had, in fact, I had no clue about the town she was from. And later, after being divorced, I found out from talking to my English friends, like about that town, what it's about. So you'll love this, okay? She's from Newcastle.
Okay. Well, I'm really surprised at that because most of us, and this is no disrespect to the southern people, but most northerners are quite humble people normally.
You would think. But,
normally.
They come over here and they want to act like, because for Americans that have never been to the UK, they think that all the UK is this like highly, high class, hoity-toity royal people, I mean, so it's easy for somebody like that to come and play it off,
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Otherwise, you're not going to sink the man you want to get by acting like white trash.
Oh, maybe you would.
We got enough of it in America, so we don't need some British girl for that. We don't need
Okay.
Oh man, good stuff. I love it. I love your new music. It's badass. And you guys are also going to be on tour in the UK and I think some other European countries. You're playing a festival in Poland, I believe. And
we've got to see what's available and what's out there and what have you. As we said earlier, there's so many bands out at the moment who are just blowing my mind with what they're putting out. So good stuff. So we're hoping once the album's out and a few more promoters have heard it, then we'll see what doors are open for us.
All right. Well, cool. I love it. And I hope I get to see you guys again. Maybe I have festival in the US too. That would be cool.
That would be the dream. That would be the dream.
Let's make that happen. See, that'll be part of making it happen. When you come into my show tomorrow and we're talking about one of the U.S. festivals and I'm running a contest for that, then I'm going to call out Danny Wimmer and say he's got to put you on one or more of the festivals in 2025.
I will quite happily talk to the man about that.
There you go. I love it. Well, thanks a lot for giving us great music, and thanks for being on the Adventures of Pipeman.
Thank you for having me, dude. It's been a pleasure. Thanks again.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.